Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. The housing inventory around Indiana has been tight, especially in some of the most affordable price points, and buyers have been forced to pay above list. In some cases, the result has been a bidding war. Buyers are wondering, why are we having to pay above list price, and how long will this might continue? For some insight, I'm pleased to welcome back to the show Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Indiana Realty broker Greg Cooper. Greg, welcome.
Great to be here.
This whole tight inventory thing, we've been talking about it for a long time. What, back to 16, 17?
Yeah.
Still out there, this tight inventory?
It is, and really it began back during the crash, Gary. On February 27, 2009, the largest home builder in the state of Indiana ceased its operations. So they had built tens of thousands of homes in Indiana over the previous decade, give or take, and all of a sudden they're gone. Now, that was not highly impactful in 2009-10. We weren't building a lot of homes, but the net effect over the last 10, 11 years is that we're way down on the number of homes for available people who want to buy them.
So it really hasn't gotten a lot better these last couple of years.
It's getting worse progressively. And it's not a huge jump, but it sure feels like it when you're trying to buy your first home and 6 other people are standing next to you throwing a bunch of money at the same house that you're just trying to move into.
Can you give us an example? We talk about bidding wars. How crazy is it out there?
If you're in a springtime market, you might have a $225,000 to $250,000 home, depending upon what part of the state you're in. And you might be, if it's really a cherry, you might have a half a dozen people that you're bidding against. You might be 4 or 5% above the list price by the time you're going to get a chance to buy it. That gets a little better as we get into the latter part of the year, but it's still challenging.
And this is very much statewide, not just here in central Indiana, but you're talking all over the state of Indiana.
If you've got a Craftsman dollhouse, you can pretty much bet there's going to be somebody who wants it just as bad as you do.
As you look at some of the other factors and look at as we head toward the end of the year, what should prospective home buyers and sellers, what should they be thinking about?
Well, they need to know that there's going to be a little bit better time during the year when they can try and approach buying. Not everybody wants to buy a home in November and December, but the truth is you're going to have less competition to buy a property when you get into those 2 months of the year. We know that from the current data that we've had, and it's very recent and hot off the presses, we're going to probably start 2020 in a very similar fashion the way we started 2019.
That's what I was going to say. Looking ahead to next year, based on these dynamics and some of the numbers from the Indiana Realtors Association, you're looking at 2020 maybe at least starting out the same.
Yeah, our friends at the Indiana Association of Realtors have just given us some great data, and we sure appreciate that. We're down 7% approximately for the year in closed sales. What? Most people can't believe that. And at the same time, we're down about 7% year to year, 18 to 19, in new listings, which tells us in the crystal ball what 2020 is probably going to start out like.
Do you sense any improvement? We've talked a lot about the new home market, new construction market has been tough, has struggled. Any improvement in that side of things?
We've got great home builders in the state of Indiana who are trying to keep up, but we're all in a cautionary place because we all know what happened a decade ago, and they haven't forgotten, and nor have the people who've done business regularly forgotten that. There is a secondary thing contributing to all of this right now, Gary, and it's the last 2 or 3 years, and that is that home sellers who want to move are afraid to put their homes on the market because they got nowhere to go. And that's kind of another psychological improbable in all of this that makes it that much more challenging for the inventory to improve.
Final question, any update crystal ball on mortgage rates and where you see those going? Obviously next year is presidential election year. Yeah,
that's going to be a real wild card, and probably not till we get through the first quarter, I would suspect, next year. But the reality is that right now where we sit, barring weird geopolitical and financial things that come about, we're probably going to have some consistency in that regard with a little bit of a fluctuation. 30-year rates, depending upon credit score, all that in the low 4s, some in the upper 3s, really incredibly affordable.
Greg Cooper, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, is always great perspective on a very interesting market. I know you're keeping busy. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for being